Hey, you guys, I wanted to come on here and talk about the stigma that surrounds Black people and their mental health because some of you may not be familiar, but there has been an increase in the number of suicides amongst Black youth. And I do think the first area we should take a look at is the stigma. Now, before I really get into the video, I do just kind of want to take some time to kind of apologize to you guys for not really putting out any content lately. I have been really preoccupied with a lot of things going on personally, but I am constantly working hard to ensure that I deliver to you guys quality content that I think you guys will enjoy. So with that being said, I do want to go ahead now and kind of touch base on this video. So, I'm sure some of you guys have heard from family or friends before when you're under tremendous amounts of stress, the familiar sayings such as, "You're too strong to let this get you down," or "Let God handle it," or even, "Man or girl, you have all this money and a successful job. What could you be stressed about?" Yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard all these sayings before. People diminishing the inequities you face inside of your mind. And these external influences, they don't take into consideration your own internal plight at times. And in my opinion, I do think it is important for us to take time to ourselves and clear our mind of any and all disturbances that disrupt our inner peace. Now, I do understand that this is something easier said than done, and for most Black people, we are not afforded this luxury because, in addition to the constant oppression we face from the outside world on a routine basis, a majority of us also have to be there for our family and friends who need us dearly. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have family and friends that, require constant care, almost 24/7. So, my objective in this video is to hopefully provide some helpful tips and solutions in learning how to deal with stress and depression effectively. We should begin with the phrase that we hear the most from one external source, usually stemming from the media and music, that we are strong. Now, this one actually reinforces a negative and perpetual role that we have been stuck with for centuries. I'm sure you guys have heard the term strong Black woman, strong Black man, and to be honest, I'm actually really sick and tired. And at this point, just kind of fed up with listening to this one the most. I feel like as Black people, we have to understand that we are not superhuman. We don't possess the capability of being immortal and bearing the weight of the world like Atlas. We need to be vulnerable, open, and exposed so that those around us understand that, like everyone else, we need care and attention. And something else I kind of want to touch on as well too, men in general are strong, and it is expected of us to uphold this to a degree where it seems like it's taboo for Black men to express any kind of emotion. We are supposed to hold a 10,000-pound support beam for hours on end without any assistance from anyone else. And I'm here to tell you, Black men, that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay for you to admit that the stress of the world is unbearable and that you need to rest and relax for just, some moments in order to continue dealing with the constant pressures of this world. I mean, I think through conditioning, we've kind of been taught that even the slightest frown or mention of being sad is something you should be exiled for, and that is imprudent. And Black men also, with the pressures that we face, it is okay to say, "I don't have it this time." And there's nothing wrong with that, especially as it pertains to your mental stability. You have to take yourself into consideration first and foremost. I am a strong proponent of that. It's vital because the last thing we want to do is lash out against the ones we love and care about. You have to understand that internalizing stress and letting it manifest into depression over a long course of time it's not healthy. And the same thing goes for Black women too. Black women will hear all the time about how Jesus won't give you too much you can't handle. And, I've even heard in passing conversations about how, you're so much stronger than that and you're so independent with your two kids. And I want to kind of interrupt that pattern as well, because no, that's not okay. Black women are feminine, beautiful beings who need love, support, and attention just the same as Black men. But Black women, never let anyone devalue your hardships and pressures. And I am a supporter of Black love. I think nothing is more wondrous than a Black man and Black woman sitting down and talking to each other about their equal struggles. And I want to actually propose a strategy as well too. If for some reason you're not able to speak with your significant other because he or she is the problem, or even if you're not with anyone currently, I think you should speak to a therapist, maybe like a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And one thing I want to, kind of make clear, I'm not saying anything is wrong with anyone for seeking this course of action, because we need that special attention that warrants a solution from a medical professional. And I am basically saying, don't let anyone tell you that you're better than counseling. It's this stigma that actually keeps us from seeking professional help, because external sources will oftentimes tell you something that discourages you from making that call that could actually make all the difference. Now, understand that when you are not able to perform your daily routine, at your optimal level of functionality, it will show in your proficiency and accuracy at work. And I do actually just kind of want to take a moment, trust me when I say, all of this, because I know that person actually is me. I mean, I speak from experience. I am able to relate to all of you because I actually had experienced a time in my life where I was at my absolute low, and it was in my personal life. And what ended up happening was, because I didn't talk to anybody about my problem, my work performance suffered adversely, to the point to where even my supervisor realized that something was actually off about me. She noticed that my metrics were in serious need of improvement, and my supervisor knew that because I was normally like an exceptional worker. She knew that I had impeccable attendance. What she wanted to do was she recommended that I take some time off to deal with whatever was going on with me personally. And that actually brings me to my next proposal. Black people, take time off, and don't be ashamed to. If you guys have the PTO available at your job, use it. I know some of you are probably workaholics and just think about how some of you may bring work home with you, but think about it like this. Even in times where you are clearly off work, you're probably thinking about that report that's due Monday, or you're concerned if a presentation or project or thousands of emails will be completed before a certain deadline. And with all of this on your mind, what I want to do is I want to try to see if I can maybe hopefully just provide some alternatives. Try to take time to practice yoga. Do some breathing exercises where you go into a quiet room and count backwards from 10 to 1. Close your eyes, clear your mind, and meditate. Go outside and breathe in some fresh air. Try exercising. Play video games if you're into it. I just urge you to try at least one of these, because Black people, I love us too much for me to have to see us go through this as a collective. I mean, life's obstacles are very difficult for us, and the last thing I want us to do is to crumble under the pressures of everyday society. Now, I also do want to bring you guys attention to another area just briefly. When we actually take a look at our Black youth suicide rates, I think this is something that we have to actively work towards improving. I do recall seeing somewhere, and I can't remember right off, but there was a report that showed that the suicide rates of our Black youth has actually experienced a substantial increase. I mean, when we think about the children who are going to school, imagine the stress that they go through, like a huge test. Maybe your child is just filled with anxiety. Maybe your child's grades need some attention, or let's even take a look besides education wise. If your child has actually been a victim of bullying, these factors actually create, yet again, a tremendous amount of stress, which creates depression, where a child eventually associates school with an aversive event where he or she actually has a tendency to avoid school due to the threat of bullying. And I think that a viable solution to this would probably be to each of these would be to first speak with your child to see maybe if he or she needs some help with studying. If you don't have a thorough understanding of their homework, that's okay. But I would recommend probably speaking with the child's teacher to see if there's any tutoring, or maybe just some kind of an additional step that can be taken to help the child have a better understanding of their material. And there are some places where after school programs are held, to help students who are struggling with their education. And it may even just require a different approach altogether to help them learn better and comprehend better. And regarding the issue with the persistent bully, what I would recommend regarding that would be to maybe schedule like a parent teacher conference, go to the child's school, speak with the teacher about the problem. And if it warrants it, maybe it will also involve the other parent of the bully. Then it may be necessary to prevent the bullying behavior. But what I want to say also too is if the problem still continues after this, don't stop there. See if it's also possible to speak with the principal, because if it escalates to the point where your child cannot learn due to the bullying behavior, then it affects his or her grades. The principal may be able to switch the class periods that your child has with that class so that he or she can be placed in like a safe and suitable educational environment, because of course you don't want your child to be in an environment where they're constantly in fear of what someone else may do to them. So they should be focused on their homework and education, not somebody that's constantly attacking them. Now, understand that some of the solutions that I provided may not solve all of the problems that we face, but it can certainly open up some venues and approaches that maybe weren't attempted before. And ultimately, my dire wish is that our little black boys and girls will be able to learn without concern of being bullied or teased and picked on. And if their grades are low, then they have the comfortability to come to their parents and tell them the trouble areas that they're struggling with. If our children have a successful and thriving environment, and this is just my opinion, where he or she has the capability to ask for help without ridicule or scrutiny from external factors, then I'm actually fairly certain that they will have the tools needed to avoid any kind of unnecessary stress or tension that comes their way. And also, black men and black women, please use these tools for yourself as well. Remember, if there's ever a time where you feel like you can't turn to anyone, talk to a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, or even a psychiatrist to express your concerns. And one more thing before I let you guys go, I don't want the video to be too long, but I actually do want to place emphasis on a small detail I did overlook. If it is possible, try to speak with a black health counselor. And if so, black men seek a black male counselor, black women seek a black woman counselor. I say this because I feel like when it concerns societal issues, these doctors or specialists, they will already kind of have like an idea of where you come from in terms of cultural similarities and issues. And I believe that they all too well know about the systemic oppression that we face and the debilitating demands and expectations from our friends and family. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable and open with them about what you're going through. If any of you have gone through a terrible breakup or even a divorce, which can have a devastating effect on anyone, please talk to someone. Don't internalize your sadness and let it manifest into something destructive against the wrong person at the wrong time. And just to kind of wrap this up, I may make a part 2 to this video, hopefully with more stats and research. Let me know if you guys like this video and want me to do a follow-up. Make sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys in the next video.